The thick-stock, gold-embossed envelope arrived on a Wednesday. It was sealed like a regal edict, just resting there on the kitchen table, quiet, bold, out of place. I stared at the counter next to a half-drunk smoothie and a loose stack of dollars. Marissa never bothered to open them, not really, but this one, she opened it immediately. She guessed what it was before even reading it. A wedding invitation. Her brother Logan's name practically sparkled off the card like it had been, waiting to be admired. I didn't need the footnote to know who the Prestons were. Their name, Celeste Preston, came tangled in old money, the kind of wealth that gets museum wings named after them. Not simply structures, legacy. People like Marissa polish their smiles, not for warmth, but for precision. She walked in as I was reading it, holding 2 fabric swatches and barely glanced up. With a careless tone, she said, "Try to dress up for once," like it was an afterthought. Then she flipped through a designer catalog left casually around the kitchen island. "Logan's marrying into the presents," she said. "It's going to be huge." Everything was always huge. Dinners, reunions, fundraisers, over-the-top gatherings designed to remind everyone of their place in the hierarchy, and mine, somewhere near the furniture. They never asked if I wanted to be included. I just was. Used. I lingered over the card for a second too long, and Marissa noticed, but didn't say anything. She didn't have to. It was never a question. "It's only a weekend," she added, still flipping through pages. "Don't start reading the whole card, it's too long. Just don't disgrace me." That last part? It landed like a slap. Quiet. Subtle. But heavy. I wanted to remind her I'd been turning up for 10 years. 10 years of being the polite +1 at her family's holiday dinners. Filling empty chairs. Laughing at Logan's jokes. Jokes that always came at my expense. Ever since I had the audacity to drop out of law school to build a business, I was their favorite punchline, a pipe dream they called it. They had no idea who I was. Not Logan, not the Prestons, not even Marissa. Or maybe she just stopped bothering to remember. And I could have reminded her. I could have told her that Atlas Industries, the startup she dismissed, was now one of the most significant tech companies in the country. I could have told her I'd been working 15-hour days, in silence, in secret, building something real. But I didn't. I just folded the invitation, carefully, and slid it back into the envelope. "I'll be ready," I said, calm and measured. She nodded, satisfied, and went back to her catalog. The weeks before the wedding felt like rehearsals for a play I didn't audition for. Marissa was consumed. Meeting with stylists, planners, praising the vineyard's wine, the designer's silhouettes. She treated the event like a royal coronation. Logan's wedding wasn't just his. It was the family's. She barely saw me. The one time I overheard her on the phone with her mother, she laughed and said, "He picked the suit himself. Nothing fancy. But it'll do. At least he'll blend in so the Prestons won't ask where I found him." She said it like, I was some online listing. I didn't interrupt. Didn't say a word. Just stood in the hallway, listening. That night, I sat in my office, opened my laptop, and finalized the closing phase of a deal I'd been engineering for 6 months. One that began with acquiring a small, overlooked supplier. Preston Tech was increasingly dependent on the Logan's company. It wasn't about revenge. It was about timing. And this wedding was the perfect stage. I chose a dark slate wool suit, custom fit, no sparkle, no logos, just precision. Was the label. The night before we left, Marissa kissed my cheek and handed me a small box. "A weekend gift," she said. Inside was a gold-plated tie clip, monogrammed with my initials, in a font that didn't suit me. "Thanks," I replied, then added, "But remember to smile. The photographers will be everywhere." She gave a practiced smile and said, "You're a guest. Let Logan shine. It's his weekend, remember?" The next morning, we took a private shuttle to the estate. It was everything you'd expect. Manicured lawns, ivy-covered facades, fountains that looked Roman-approved. A kingdom for those born expecting applause. Marissa beamed the entire ride. Doesn't it feel like a dream? She asked, staring out the window. It did. Except this time I wasn't dreaming. I was awake. 10 years ago, I stood in her family's dining room holding a cheap glass of wine while Logan cracked a joke at my expense. "Remind me," he said loudly. "What's the name of your app company again? You left law school for that, right?" The table roared. Even Marissa laughed. She rubbed my back like I was a loyal retriever. "He's ambitious," she said softly. "But loyal?" They had no idea. They didn't know I was working from a grocery store cafe with a 2-year-old. Laptop. Didn't know about the wall I shared with a barking dog. Or the calls I made at 3 a.m. to foreign vendors. Or the investors who ghosted me. Marissa used to believe in me. But somewhere along the way, Logan's golf club and her dad's donors started to matter more than my code. She told me to network more. Maybe be more like Logan. What she didn't know, didn't ask, was that I was already building something bigger than all of them, quietly, strategically. With the help of my Uncle Cyrus, who agreed to be the face of the company on one condition, that my name stayed hidden. "Build it in the shadows," he warned. "They'll try to kill it before it breathes." So I did. While Logan posted on LinkedIn and grinned in press releases, I created shell corporations and bought the vendors his company needed. I made sure their supply chain bent toward me like branches in a storm, and still I let Marissa believe I was just a tech guy. The night of our 6th anniversary, she took me to a rooftop restaurant. She clinked her wine glass and said, "Sometimes I think I married the wrong brother." She laughed. I didn't, because she meant it, even if she didn't know she did. That night, I didn't argue. I just looked out over the skyline and remembered. Atlas kept growing, quietly, silently, rooted deep, and while Logan danced in headlines, I pulled strings in boardrooms he didn't even know existed. The Prestons never saw it coming, and neither did she. By the time the wedding arrived, SP Capital, a company I controlled, and 2 shell firms had secured contracts with almost every vital Preston tech supplier. The entire supply chain? Mine, and no one knew. Until now. That gold-embossed invitation wasn't an invite. It was a trigger, a moment. The kind man with a pipe dream had built a throne in the dark. And at this wedding, I wasn't just a guest. I was the reckoning.